All right, so let's just get right into it, okay? Um, Today, the Los Angeles Lakers will play the Philadelphia 76ers. It's their last road game until they play the Clippers, who technically are at home on the 28th, which I think is Tuesday. So this is the last game for the Lakers until Tuesday. And of course, the big news tonight is that LeBron James is only 18 points away from tying Kobe Bryant for third all time in scoring in NBA history. But that's not why I'm making this video. Why I'm making this video, and also incidentally, being that it's in Philly, that's Kobe Bryant's hometown. But that's not why I'm making this video. The reason I'm making this video is that LeBron James earlier today on Instagram made a very cryptic post. Well, it's not even that cryptic. It's pretty much uh, kind of obvious what he was saying. He just didn't say it by word, but it was pretty obvious what he was saying. There's an image of him next to a black screen, pretty much a black image, a black screen, I guess, but the word GOAT imprinted on it, which, of course, is saying or implying that he's the greatest basketball player of all time on the eve of achieving a historic milestone. And I have to say something, okay? Um, Everybody's entitled to their opinions. People are entitled to believe what they want to believe, okay? That's their opinion, that's their right. But people have to also remember something else, too, all right? Is that people like myself and others have their right to their opinion as well. I do not believe that LeBron James is the greatest basketball player of all time. And I'm not going to get into some fucking long winded debate as to why I should believe that he's the greatest. Okay? I don't believe it, and there's nothing anybody can fucking tell me that's going to change my mind about that. LeBron will have to achieve he's going to have to achieve a lot over the next several years for me to even entertain the thought that he's the GOAT. But that's just, of course, my opinion. Um, these are some things I want to discuss in this video. Number one, this isn't the first time he's done this. Okay, this isn't the first time he's done this, which is why I have a more subdued reaction in this video than the one I did last year. Of course, LeBron James declared this last year, if memory serves me correctly. It was on an episode of The Shop, and I want to say it was sometime around New Year's, like maybe December 30th, 29th, 31st, something like that. It was an episode of The Shop, which aired after the groin tear injury on Christmas Day, but was obviously recorded before that. So LeBron said in that episode that he felt that him winning the championship in Cleveland made him the GOAT. Now, what was missing from that argument or that statement was any congratulatory reference to Kyrie Irving. Because if I'm not mistaken, Kyrie Irving was sensational in the last 3 games of that series and was very instrumental in that epic Game 7 win. And that come from behind series win the Cavaliers had against the Golden State Warriors. All right, didn't hear any mention of Kyrie Irving. All right, LeBron James was sensational. I do remember that iconic block he had against Andre Iguodala, which sort of changed the wins or changed the momentum of that game. Don't get me wrong. LeBron had his imprint all over that series, especially the last 2 games. But Kyrie Irving was right there with him. Kyrie Irving, like I said back then, Kyrie Irving looked like Isaiah Thomas on steroids in that series, the last few games, but he was unfucking stoppable. All right, so it was a tag team thing. But somehow, some way, it's become morphed into, well, LeBron did every fucking thing. When I distinctly remember it being a tag team thing. Maybe LeBron was more versatile on the defensive end of things, but on the offensive end of things, you can make the argument that Kyrie was hitting bigger shots than even LeBron was, especially at Game 7. And of course, he hit the biggest shot in Cleveland Cavalier history, but that's omitted from the LeBron hierarchy of fandom. Now, so that's why I have a subdued reaction. This isn't the first time LeBron's done this. My thing is, and I said this last year, it's against code for an active NBA player, in my opinion, to publicly proclaim himself as the GOAT. All right? It's against code. It's something you don't normally hear. Now, you might have heard rumors in the locker room, this guy said this, or behind closed doors in a charity game, or behind closed doors in a practice, he said this or whatever. But it's different from a guy publicly saying on a TV show and publicly saying on social media that he's the best. I find that disrespectful to your competition that you're playing against, and I find it disrespectful to past players who played the game. Look, Michael Jordan, by consensus, is considered the GOAT. All right. Some people will put Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in that category. I think Kareem's the greatest basketball player of all time. I think Michael Jordan's the greatest pro basketball player of all time. All right. But this is the thing. Other people will say that Michael's the GOAT. Other people will say that. You never heard Michael Jordan publicly saying that he was the best. Whenever he was asked that question, no matter what he might have felt personally, he would generally say something to the effect of, he thought it was disrespectful for him to say that he was the best player ever when no player is bigger than the game. I think he'll say something like that. Then he would say, I didn't get a chance to play against Jerry West. I didn't get a chance to play against Oscar Robertson. I didn't get a chance to play against, Pete Maravich or Sam Jones or whoever. He would say that. So it's unfair for me to sit there and say that I'm the best when I didn't get a chance to play against these other guys. So yeah, in my mind, that argument goes to LeBron James. Number one, I do wonder in my mind how successful LeBron James. Now, don't get me wrong, LeBron James would be successful in any era, but I do wonder how he would have fared in an era where defenses were not as handcuffed and it wasn't as easy to bull to the basket as it is now. Imagine a league where he was playing against the Shaqs and the Karl Malones and the Charles Oakleys and the Xavier McDaniels, all right, and the Olden Polynesians, all right, and the Anthony Masons, and earlier on the Maurice Lucases, okay, the Kermit Washingtons. I'm talking about enforcers, all right, the Buck Williams, the Davis boys, all right, Alonzo Mourning, Patrick Ewing, all right, the guys who were known as the tough guys of the NBA when the league was much more physical. And even though LeBron is a big guy, LeBron isn't one to start a fight. So I do wonder how LeBron would have fared in the league like that playing against those guys. That's why I don't like when people say that this guy's the GOAT, that guy's the GOAT. Okay? Uh, it's, like I said, it's my opinion that Mike's the GOAT, but I don't go crazy if someone thinks it's Magic, or someone thinks it's Wilt, or someone thinks it's Bill Russell, or someone thinks it's Kareem. Someone it's a reasonable argument. Even with LeBron, I've got to the point where I'm like, look, man, whatever. If you think it's LeBron, if you think it's Kobe, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? I just don't agree with it. But my thing is, I find it galling for an actual player to come out and say it. That rubs me the wrong way. It rubs me the wrong way, and I think it's just disrespectful. And then someone threw it in my face, well, Muhammad Ali did it. Okay, he did. He did. And Muhammad Ali caught a lot of shit for that. He caught a lot of shit for saying that he was the GOAT, that he was the greatest of all time. But first of all, there's some differences though. Muhammad Ali at first did it more as a marketing tactic. He did it more as a marketing tactic for himself. He grew up watching wrestling. He would watch this wrestler who went by the name of Gorgeous George, and he was always talking about how pretty he was, and he was the best of all time, and nobody could whoop him and all that type of shit. So Muhammad Ali, with him having the gift of gab, created this character. It was him, but it was a character. It was him played up 10 levels. So Ali, the braggadocio, it was a gimmick at first. But what endeared Muhammad Ali to so many millions of people, it was different levels to it. Number one, what endeared Ali to millions was the fact that ultimately his career, his accomplishments inside and outside the ring, more than lived up to that moniker that he started when he was, a youngster. Okay, you look at what he was able to accomplish: fighting everybody, beating pretty much everybody, wasn't shying away from people. The first three-time heavyweight champion of all time. Fought George Foreman when George Foreman was putting people on stretchers. Fought a dude, Ernie Shavers, that has a reputation until Deontay Wilder for being the hardest hitting heavyweight of all time, and took what Ernie Shavers gave and then some. And of course, the humanitarian aspects of his life, and what he did for the civil rights movement, and what he did as far as speaking out against the war and the personal sacrifices. These are things that led to people embracing him, calling him the GOAT, okay? Or the greatest of all time. And it had a double meaning. And I said this in my video when I was eulogizing Ali when he passed away in June of 2016. When Ali was calling himself the greatest, and I'm pretty, and all this type stuff, it had a double meaning. It was also emboldening African Americans throughout the country. Because you gotta remember, this is when we were still in a segregated country in the early to mid 1960s. We were still segregated, where the best job you could have is a porter or a cook. You had to put up with so much bullshit. And you had this guy that looked just like you. You're used to seeing guys, champions like Joe Louis, put his head down and act humble in victory. Ali was able to be triumphant and talk shit and gloat about knocking a white man out. It meant so much more than him just saying and bragging, I'm better than this other guy. It had more than one meaning. That's why a lot of people took it a certain way when Floyd Mayweather would call himself the GOAT, because none of that was intended. It was only for him to say, I'm the best boxer ever, laud me. When for anybody to sit there and say that I'm better than this guy and that guy in boxing, it's something you shouldn't say, okay? All right? Ali earned that moniker, okay? And he paid the ultimate price for earning the title, the greatest. So please don't bring up Muhammad Ali, okay? You can bring it up, but people are going to shut that shit down quick, okay? I don't see LeBron James out here fucking getting his head smashed in by bruisers, okay? I see a guy that flops a lot, so don't do that. Don't put Ali in this fucking equation, okay? Ali earned every bit of that GOAT status. But I'm gonna finish the video off this way. This I'm gonna finish it off with. Since this is the second time that LeBron James referred to himself as the GOAT, Lakers Nation, I implore you, do not accept anything other than an NBA championship this year for the Lakers. I don't want to hear any excuses from Chris Broussard. I don't want to hear no excuses from Nick Wright. I don't want to hear no excuses from Colin Cowherd. I don't want to hear shit except for Mike Breen, Jeff Van Gundy, and Mark Jackson to exclaim, the Los Angeles Lakers are the 2019-20 NBA champions. And if I don't fucking hear that, it's gonna be hell to pay. Don't want to hear no excuses. None of that shit. Championship or fucking bust. Because if you're the best, if you're truly the GOAT, you're gonna give us the fucking best. And if I sound like Dusty Rhodes right now, it's intentional. You want to be the American dream. You're gonna give us the best, LeBron James. You're gonna be the best, goddammit. You're gonna give us a fucking championship in LA. That's what we want, and that's what we gonna get. A championship. I don't want to hear no fucking excuses from no LeBron fan come June. And if they win a championship, praise to LeBron James. You will see nothing but praise from my channel for LeBron James. The Lakers ain't able to do it. But if they don't do it, brother, if they don't win championship, I don't want to hear none of these motherfuckers on YouTube give me any goddamn excuses. None. I don't want to hear no shit about Anthony Davis being gimpy. I don't want to hear none of that shit, brother. All I want to see is championships. That's it, goddammit. Championships or nothing at all. Woo!